Gary was looking forward to this day, Kay having visited with her father Kermit on the phone, having made arrangements to join the family and give them a tour of the RMS Queen Mary on permanent display at Long Beach. Kermit having sailed aboard the Queen when converted to a troop transport during World War II. Once aboard the luxurious liner, the family discovering a Jacques Cousteau aquarium and a guided tour presentation, Kermit electing to conduct the family with his own tour, including the many levels and area he occupied with the returning troops. After visiting the wheelhouse and the upper levels, Gary decided to explore on his own, heading below deck, slipping off entering an area marked, closed to the public, no admittance. The pianist in search of the engine room. Finding himself in what appeared to be an extended passageway, his search was in vain. A conclusion to the Queen Mary adventure, the group mooring themselves at a local restaurant, Gary appreciative of Kermit taking the time to facilitate his relatively new family, making an observation that the newly acquainted grandfather was like a sailor home from the sea. The morning bringing a final Southern California visual attendance, the brief journey to the famous Venice Boardwalk, discovering its location and occupants were a parody to a movie scene and actors portrayed in a Hollywood production. A discussion of whether to proceed to Morro Bay or to bypass it, Kay not really enthused about knocking on strangers' doors and introducing yourself as the daughter of Helen, at one time a member of your family. Gary reminding her that this was her mother's idea, and it wouldn't be appropriate to disappoint her. The Buick pointed north on Highway 101, Gary knowing the Morro Bay turnoff was north of San Luis Obispo, having traveled this route before. It was just as Gary imagined. The address of the Rice Relations was located several blocks up on the hillside above the bay, and its location view of the town's star performer, the scenic Morro Rock, was preeminent. The Wilsons were not unannounced, the family having been expecting them, a cordial welcome coming with their introduction. The hour was getting late, Gary in process of thanking them for their hospitality when they made an insistent offer. They had plenty of room and the travelers should spend the night. An attempt to leave being spoken, but the late hour departure and having no motel reservations was unacceptable to their host, the Wilsons accepting their hospitality, staying the night. Morro Bay in the rear view mirror, the Wildcat traversing the 15 miles to once again acquaint Highway 101 north, but not to his parents' residence in Oakland, but to Pioneer, their cabin retreat in the Sierras. An earlier phone call discovering the elder Wilsons were spending their summer in the mountainous terrain. The 6-hour drive to Pioneer accomplished, his parents delighted at the family's arrival. The solitude of the Sierras a welcome Gary discovering that this visit wasn't what he had expected, his desire to journey back to past, rediscovering his childhood adventures exploring the wilderness never surfaced, a realization, remembrance is nostalgic. Today is real, and tomorrow's our opportunity. The addition of neighboring residents beginning to surround his parents' retreat, once secluded. Their 2-bedroom modern decked cabin painting a picture of what was to come, Gary was ready to return home to Oklahoma. The departure day having arrived, the 67 Buick destined to sojourn the highway to the Sooner State, the musician somewhat accepting his disability but still uncertain of his future. It was decided that a leisure return would be exercised, a stop at Dinosaur City, Arizona providing an excursion to a cavernous realm, viewing the exposition of the fossilized prehistoric domain. The night being spent in Kingman. The morning discovering a diverting journey to the Painted Desert, the highlighted colors exclamatory in their presentation, the coinage of splendor ravishing a color scheme within the silence of an absent wind. A walk in the petrified forest, Gary aware of the sign prohibiting the appropriation of the age-old specimens, but upon leaving, mysteriously discovering a relic from the past in his pocket. The wildcat forging ahead, the familiar high plains beginning to lose their altitude as Albuquerque materialized, another night of rest before the final drive to Oklahoma City. Gary, out of curiosity, having chronicled the mileage and the amount of gas purchased, not surprised, discovering the 430 cubic inch, 360 horsepower Wildcat averaging 11 miles per gallon for the 3,500-mile escapade, very much aware that he 4-barrel carburetor let itself be known screaming the whole distance. Returning to their southwest 46th Terrace domain, the encumbered musician beginning to feel the aspects of despondency. No longer able to pursue his occupational endeavor, or even the halcyon of the golf course along with other presentations. The appendage loss providing a mundane existence, but buried within, the fortitude of resolution, the constant placement of a rubber ball in his hand, brain power commanding his fingers to grip, a discernment of consecration still prevailing, willing the use of his right arm appendages to return.